to the Hall of Fame podcast. Again, as always, before we get into this exciting episode, we continue to roll down this peel the layer of AI in every possible version. We have another episode. We're going to talk a little bit about AI and how it affects brokerages, trucking companies, because I think with the amount of AI that's hitting the market, it's important for you to understand that, especially you business owners out there, it's important information for you. But as always, before we get into that, let's just get a little state of the industry and see what's going on. Crude oil down to $70 a barrel. It was as high as, I think it was either in 90s or 100 the last time we talked a month ago. Now, ending off the Iran war or the agreement they've came with the U.S. and other Arab countries have lowered it. But there were some attacks this weekend, 2 attacks specifically on 2 ships that has caused it to spike up a little bit. I expect fuel to drop into $50 a barrel once it's done. But I also think there's going to be more fuel coming from the U.S. Venezuela area than from the Strait of Hormuz, like we've seen prior to this war being kicked off. Reasons for that, it's just a matter of security and some other things. So let's move forward. The 5 major U.S. carriers have seen a huge upswing in rates. That means the freight depression, we're not going to talk about it anymore. It's over with. Freight is coming back. Rates are coming back. Obviously, it's all not coming back at once, but just you need to be out there pricing accordingly. And for you guys that have fuel inside your rates, it's the time to trim some of it out to become a little more nimble, maybe increase your profits, and also get to your customers first before someone else comes in and underbid your all-in rate that you may have because fuel is dropping so fast. So stay on top of fuel. It'll continue to go down. Follow me. I'll tell you when. So also, there's a huge crackdown on bad EDLs. EDLs like anything else. If you have an electronic log and then you're in so many programs, people are going to manipulate them. There's several that are being manipulated for people who are running illegal. They continue to shut these down. Every week I get a new list. Make sure you don't have a fly-by-night EDL carry, especially for you guys out there running 50 to 100 trucks. It's a lot of change if you have to change this all at once, and then you can shut down your fleet. So pay attention to that. You can take the FMCSA webpage as they put some of these EDL providers out of business, okay? FedEx Freight, which is now separate from FedEx for the first time this quarter, separate company. They are going after higher margins. Obviously, they don't have the air freight and some of those things they had in the past, and they want to show FedEx Freight as a stronger company. So they're definitely doing some things in order to increase their rates. Obviously, we talked about the Suez Canal, 2 attacks from Iran, and then there was a response from the U.S. government. Let's continue. We keep talking about non-domiciled CDL. This came up when we talked about the court case. What is a non-domiciled CDL? That's someone that doesn't live in your state. So if you have a license and you live in the state, you vote in the state, and your house is the address in the state, that's a domiciled CDL. But there are states, the 3 biggest ones of non-domiciled drivers are New Mexico, Vermont, and Texas. And a lot of these guys are registered aliens. So they're not citizens, but they have a legal right to be here and work, and they're able to get a license. They can be Mexican or Canadian due to NAFTA. I'm not going to get out of the wormhole to get into all the legal, the ones that can do it. But there's a lot of opportunity to defraud here. And I think it's something that these states are cracking down. I know Ohio has a huge crackdown right now. Just want to make sure that these people are licensed. And also, a lot of states are adding tests. I know Florida has that. The driver's CDL test, I think even the driver's license, I know the CDL test must be done in English and English only, so you're able to read the signs that are out on the highway. So that's really good news. I have a lot of stuff going on. I just want to get you updated before the 4th of July. This is our Independence Day episode, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. Welcome to the Hall of Fame podcast. Today we have a great guest. We're going to talk to Debales AI, and we're going to take to Arnett. And what's so important is we've done the series on AI and how it's affecting the trucking industry. And I think this will continue down that path, tell you a little bit more. So without further ado, Arnett, let me turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Sure. I'm Arno. I'm co-founder of Debales AI. Essentially, at Debales AI, we build AI workforces for freight brokerages, 3PLs, freight forwarders, and different sorts of large supply chain and logistic companies to automate different repetitive communication workflows, which happens on different channels.
Okay, so all right, so let's dig into that. So as I looked up your company and what dragged us to want to make you guys one of our guests is I owned a brokerage at one point. So first, let's start about how do you help a freight brokerage improve their operation? Let's start there.
For sure. So essentially what we do is we look into the operations, what do freight brokerages do the most, and what's very repetitive and what's something which is simple and very time boggling. Essentially we find the flow, understand exactly what's happening, what's exactly the series of events which happening, and essentially we build in a workforce of AI agents to automate that sort of flow. So for example, track and trace inquiries, that's a huge operation in brokerage side, which they're getting maybe hundreds to thousands of emails per day. And they hired a ton of people and they're spending a ton of capital on different tools just to organize that data. Essentially, we built an AI agent to automate all that different track and trace in inquiries which come in and come out. So yeah, that's just an example of an operational
Okay.
efficiency. Yeah.
What about like? All right, let me give you another thing. I'm just going through the things in my mind when I ran a brokerage that was very time consuming. What about a load builder? Most of our loads would come through email. Are you able to yank that and then build it into the TMS? And can you build it into any TMS? Let's use Ascend, whatever some of them out there, Kai, or any other TMS. Will it build it to your own TMS, or do you have your own TMS itself?
So we can connect to any TMS. We can build loads. That's another operational workflow connected to coding, which we can definitely do. Where the email comes in, the AI agent books the load, builds the load, and then sends over all the information back to the client from the spot for requests. So definitely AI agents can definitely do that. Can also do data entry inside the TMS, inside any other system which their brokers may have as well. So yeah, that's definitely a functionality of what we are doing at Debales AI.
So let me go one further. Can you help with the securing of power? And let me give you an example. Let's say I had a lane from Elgin, Illinois to Omaha, Nebraska, and I have 60 possible carriers that I have in my system set up. Could it tender to them and get them to give you back a rate? Can you tender freight?
Yeah, for sure. So we can definitely configure an AI agent to do that. That's definitely possible. We're in discussion with many clients to do so. So yeah, that's definitely possible in the realm of possibility.
Okay. So are you working with any freight brokers today?
Yeah, we're working with over a dozen freight brokerage companies, 3PLs, mostly mid-market to enterprise, between uh,
What? How big are they? What is the average? 50 million? What? How big are they? The ones you're
so
working
the
with?
average revenue for most of our clients is probably 300 million. We like it goes from 50 million is the very lower end, all the way to a couple billion
Mhm.
dollar. Our biggest one is a multi-billion dollar one. We're also in
Okay.
discussions with very huge parcel as in the European region, which it's 5 billion euros. So we're also connecting there as well of how an AI can build and control tower and essentially automate different procedures there as well.
Okay. So what is so when you talk, you obviously if you have 12 freight brokers under your you using your AI model, what are they saying? What do they say it helps the most with? I mean, I know what I'm asking because I'm asking from a sense where when I was still a freight broker, these are the things I wanted to see automated. But what are they telling you, hey man, this has helped me doing X the most? What is that? What is the feedback you're getting?
Yeah, so there's two types of feedback. One is from the people who the AI is directly impacting, and the second one is the direct economics of it. So if I go to the first one, a lot of one of the teams in 3PL's teams, they're I think 75 million. Their support reps all went to vacation for like to some wedding for a week, all of them, and the AI agent was answering all of the inquiries while they're away. So essentially, that 3PL was able to answer every inquiry, every customer inquiry, 24/7 within 2 minutes, while the entire support team is going and enjoying. So that's kind of the what we're looking at and that's one efficiency they've gained. Another one was that enterprise value, especially for the bigger companies. How can we make this, the enterprise multiple much higher, and how can we make this valuation of the company much higher? So having an AI agent automate all of the different things in the company and like have a scalability functionality inside the company, like a freight broker can be as scalable as a tech startup. That's kind of the future where we're seeing with AI agents and automating every single part of freight brokerages and having control towers in every single piece will help with that and also will boost enterprise value in a lot of these companies. It's same story as C.H. Robinson. They've automated 100% of their coding, and they're seeing a huge lift in their enterprise value. And so for all the other companies we talked to, well, one company based in Florida, they've increased their enterprise value by a huge number, but so far, and they have acquired 2 more companies of similar sizes.
When you deal with a freight brokerage, your number one cost is people. Yeah, everything else is technology. Okay, you take the load from X. Let's say you take a load from a retailer, and then you give the load to a carrier, and there's a difference in the margin. That's what you make. You got an office, you got a computer, you got a cell phone, you got technology and people. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
so people is a huge part of your cost. So that is something that people would. And I'm not going to hold to that number. I'm just curious, what is the reduction people are seeing if they were going to reduce?
Yeah, so reduction rates typically 30 to 40%. It's pretty typical. And I mean, like, it's more about like, if you're talking about pure reduction, it's more about removing the low performers who were either not doing their job or who were causing complaints, who were bad actors in the organization. Removing those people and making the existing people to, like, more strategic level roles. Essentially, and like those people are like kind of like a chariot of the AI. Essentially, where the AI is kind of like the AI is going in a direction, and having a strategic influence via people can help shape that to be a much better. Essentially, what we see in the long run, 30% is probably short run for within 6 months to a year. A long run, like whenever the company gets more comfortable with AI, it gets much higher, depending on their size. So yeah.
So as they get more nimble. Okay, that's interesting. Well, that's really good to know. I guess, like I said, we've been just banging this AI. We've done tracking of assets, all different versions of this. So I think it's just something I wanted to get out to our audience. So with that said, you want to close and tell us anything our listeners would want to know about your companies? Everyone that listens to our podcast is in the translation industry. So it's a great opportunity to give them an idea of anything you'd like to close. I always give you a 30 to a minute close in so they can hear my Hall of Fame. People can hear about you. Okay?
For sure. So, one of the most important things about AI, what we're seeing is not just to apply AI agents and AI workforce, no matter how complex the technology is, there has to be a loophole of ROI and adoption built and governance built into that. And that's kind of where we're working at Debales AI to like emphasize AI technology. Obviously, is one thing, but emphasizing adoption, like what separates the 50% to the 100% AI like implementation, the value creation ROI. These different things matter more than it's just AI. AI is like hiring like a full-time employee or full-time workforce, and it's essentially how you drive that and exactly how people adopt that, how people accept that is the main thing, the main direction where we're looking at, especially with our enterprise customers. So yeah, that's what I want to share.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Arnett, for being on the Hall of Fame. You're not a member of the Hall of Fame. and have a great day. Thank you.